Okay, guys, let's get going. Okay, because we've got quite a bit that we have to get done today. Okay, so just like a little, so that we're all on the same page today, what we're going to do is we're going to finish off the revision work that we had started on Tuesday. And because this is our last trig lesson, next week, Tuesday, we move on to functions. And so we're going to finish off the revision that we started on Tuesday. I've got a really hard puzzle somewhere in the middle I'm hoping we have time for. And then we need to end a little bit earlier because today's Thursday, so you have your quiz today. Okay, cool. Let's get going. So first one, I thought we'd start with something nice and easy so that everyone can get their confidence up a little bit. Let's quickly, before we even dive into this question, let's write our trig ratios like we always do at the beginning. What is the rhyme that we need to remember when we're dealing with trig? What do we care about? Uwami.
Ma'am, it's SOH CAH TOA.
SOH CAH TOA. Thank you. SOH CAH TOA. Okay. SOH CAH TOA. So we're going to have SOH CAH TOA. Cool. Okay. I want you to have a look at this question. I want you to read it carefully. I'm not going to give you any hints. I want you to think about what it's saying. And I want you to, when you have the answer, I want you to put the answer in the chat for me. I'm not going to help you at all. I'm just letting you loose with this one. Obviously, I will go through it with you afterwards, but I want you to give it a try. Try and remember things that we've spoken about together on how to work this out. Think about, are we looking for a side? Are we looking for an angle? Yes, Canva. Once you have an answer, you can put it in the chat. But I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong yet. Canva, is it 29.93 wheels of cheese? Is it? Thank you.
Thank you. He stole that answer from Gudwano, I think, because Gudwano had degrees first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Noni. Noni is not giving us the unit of measurement that we want. Oh, there we go.
Thank you, Noni. Jeez. Does anyone need more time? If anyone needs time, can you just use the little hands up emoji for me? Okay, cool. Thank you. Coco, can you help Mbali with sound?
I'm on it, ma'am.
Sandelia, I think, as well. Okay, don't worry, guys. You can put your hand down. I can see you need more time. I won't rush you. Amazing. What units are we dealing with? Not decimals, units, like centimeters, kilometers, liters, degrees. Oh, we've fallen off the tracks. It is degrees, yes. Quenza, do you have a question? Okay, let's go through this. So I'm first going to read the question. Question says, calculate the size of A, and the A has got a little cuppy, okay? And so that little cuppy is telling us that it's an angle. And so what our brains need to think of is if we're looking for an angle, we have to use shift on the calculator, okay? Those are the connections I want you to start thinking about. When you read a question, you're going to look at things and you're going to think of things. So calculate the size of angle. Angle means calculator shift. Cool. In the diagram below. So here's A, which means this is the angle we care about, okay? I'm going to put a little theta there. You don't have to. I just find it easier to work with that. Now, if that is where theta is, that's going to make this long line over here, because that line is opposite my right angle, the hypotenuse, okay? It's going to make this side here the opposite, which means this side is the adjacent. Okay, so first step is we label our triangle. Second step is we find our trig ratio. So we think about what do we have and what do we want. So we have the H and we have the O, and we want an angle. Now, if we have H and O, that means we are going to deal with sine. So we're going to say sine theta is equal to opposite, which is 42,19, over hypotenuse, which is 84,56. If you got to this point, I am beaming with pride. That is great. That means you knew to label your triangle, you chose the right sides, you chose the right trig ratio, and you put it in correctly. If you got to this point, I'm already super, super happy. Okay, now we go into our calculator. We're going to say shift sine fraction 42,19 over 84,56. You're going to close up that fraction and push equals, and you're going to see that angle A, or theta, whatever you labeled it, is going to be 29,93 degrees. Now, in your calculator, you'll see that it says 9296. But remember, we rounded off to 2 decimal places, okay? And that 9 over there is going to make that 2 go up. So 29,93 degrees. Well done, guys. There were so many good answers coming in through the chat. Awesome. And this question was out of 2 marks. So if you're keeping tracks of how you're doing, this was out of 2. Seloleku, do you know where you went wrong? Can you see where you went wrong? Okay.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Don't worry, guys. Oh, you thought it was centimeters. Okay, so just, that's why we go through it. So now you know what to look for, and now you know what it will be. Guys, it's your first question of the night. Do not panic. Why did I write theta at first? Oh, I just wrote theta because I had put theta into the diagram. You didn't have to have theta. You could have said sine of angle A right from the beginning. That's also completely fine. Okay. Okay. Next one. This one is also out of 2 marks. Again, I'm not going to help you. You need to determine the length of AB in the diagram below. So always round off your answers to 2 decimal places unless they tell you otherwise. And the reason we do that is because in your matric final, that's the rule. So we try and train you for that early, so that when you get to matric, it's just standard. I wouldn't have marked you wrong because the question didn't specifically say 2 decimal places, but just from now, 2 decimal places is the right thing to do. But especially when a question like this is only out of 2 marks, they definitely wouldn't have taken a mark off. Canva, what are we dealing with? What are our units? Okay. All right. Let's read the question. Determine the length of AB. Now, because it says length, that means we are looking for a side. Okay, we're not looking for an angle. So this is definitely going to be in centimeters. So let's look at the information we have. We've got an angle. Now let's try and label our triangle. This is our hypotenuse. This is our opposite. And that is our adjacent. So what do I have? I have my A, which is 36,85, and I have my degrees. Okay, so I've got the 17,3 degrees. I want AB, and AB is my hypotenuse. So if I have A and I want H, then I want to use cos. So already if you've gotten to that point, that's great. Okay, so I now can see that cos of 17, that doesn't look like 7, sorry guys. Cos of 17,3 degrees is equal to adjacent, which is 36,85, over hypotenuse, which is AB. That's what we're trying to find. So now we're looking for AB. If I'm trying to find AB from this point over here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move that AB up. So I'm going to multiply it by AB. So I'm going to say AB times cos 17,3 degrees is equal to 36,85. I am trying to isolate AB. Now it's timesing by the cos 17, which means if I want to move it over, I have to divide it by it. So AB is equal to 36,85 divided by, or you could write divided by, I don't mind, cos 17,3 degrees. Go into our calculator. Fraction 36,85 over cos 17,3, and we see that AB is equal to 38,596. Okay, so we need to be careful here because that 6 is going to change that 9, which means AB is going to be equal to 38,60 centimeters. And that would be our final answer. Don't worry, Nomsa. Did you manage to get some of the way? Even if you landed up getting to this point over here, that's awesome. Okay, this question is out of 2 marks, which means you would get a whole mark just for getting there. Ooh. And then you would get a mark for your answer. You'd get a mark up there, and then you'd get a mark down here. No, so Alyssa, you only push shift when you're looking for an angle. So in your brain, think shift for angle, shift for angle, shift for angle. And if we're looking for a side, no shift. Yeah, you can absolutely divide by cos as long as you have an angle with that cos, you can divide by it. You just can't divide by cos by itself.
Ms. G, can I just add here that if you guys are a little bit lost on how this happened, I know Ms. G did a couple of lessons on this right at the beginning of this whole course. So you guys can go to the website and re-watch some of those old videos where she did questions like these. And I think those will help you a lot to understand these, because these are quite simple. Trust me, guys, they're so easy to do. And if you follow Ms. G's process, you're going to get there.
Yeah, and this is lesson 1 and lesson 2.
Yeah, lesson 1 and 2. Yeah. Also, for those of you getting an error, please make sure that both your brackets have been closed on cos 17. Yeah, because your calculator won't register it until you close that last bracket.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks so much, Coco. Exactly what Coco said now. If you don't have that bracket closing the 17,3 degrees, it's going to be an error. Coco to save the day. Yeah, I can zoom out a little bit. Does that help? Okay, let's jump onto our next one. So now the next one, we're going to kind of combine things. So this is more, so this question is now out of 6 marks. So as soon as you see something's out of 6 marks, you know there's going to be multiple things that you have to do. Okay, it's not going to just be a straightforward thing where you know exactly where you have to start. So we're going to kind of talk through this. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do. We're going to kind of talk through it. And then I'm going to ask you some questions and you can give me some answers. And then I'm going to let you and try this. Only use shift when you're looking for an angle. Okay. So in this question, they are saying calculate the length of, oh, sorry, I thought I was on a highlighter, but I'm not. Calculate the length of BC. So now this is the length of BC. Now the problem with that is that BC is not part of a right-angled triangle. Okay. But what is BC made up of? What is BC made up of that we could do, that we could find? Who thinks they can tell me? If I'm trying to find BC and I know I have to use right angled triangles to use cos, yes, Canva, I need to use a right angled triangle. Good. Both of my Canvas coming in strong here. I've got 2 different right angled triangles, right? So I can find, exactly, I can find BP, because that's part of one triangle. And I can find PC. I should use a different color. I can also find PC because that's also part of a right angle triangle. And then BC would be those 2 equal together. So just think about it like this. BP plus PC is equal to BC. So if you can find BP and you can find PC, and we have enough information to do that, then we can find what we need. So those of you who are looking at this and are like, I have no idea where to start. What are you talking about? My first piece of advice, yes, this is absolutely 90 degrees because it's a straight line. My first piece of advice would be find BP. Okay. My second piece of advice would be find AP. And then my third piece of advice is find PC. And then you've actually got BC. So try and follow those 3 steps. And this will be really good practice on finding sides of a triangle. Independently, how can I help?
Ma'am, since 11 doesn't have any decimals, do we have to do two decimal places, or can we just do the 1?
No, always keep your answer to 2 decimal places, even if the question doesn't have, yeah. And when you're finding AP, you can find AP using Pythagoras, or you can find it using trig. It's up to you. Okay, so first find BP. Yes. Or two-way, sorry, AP is definitely a common side. It's part of both triangles. So once you find AP in the green, it is AP in the pink. Okay, I'm not doing the whole thing. I'm just doing it step by step so that you can check that you're on the right track as you're going. So the first thing I'm going to do is find BP. So if I'm finding BP, BP is my adjacent, and I have my hypotenuse. So I'm going to use cos. Okay, so I'm going to say cos of 49 degrees is equal to my adjacent, which I'm looking for, but I'm going to write that as BP, over my hypotenuse, which is 11. I'm now going to multiply cos 49 by 11 to get BP. And I'm going to see that BP is equal to cos 49 times 11, which gives me 7,22 meters. Independently, is that a new hand or was that the old hand?
I wanted to ask, is it fine if I were to start with the opposite? Because I could just use 11 sine 49 and get the opposite, and then use Pythag to get BP.
Totally fine. Totally fine. You could definitely have started with the opposite and then find the adjacent. 100%. Okay. A fancy. How can I help? Oh my goodness, a fancy. Is this all the fancy? I haven't heard from you in ages. I got too excited and I scared you off. Sorry. What's your question?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
It is the older fence.
Yay! Hello.
I was wondering how you got it's to cos. Did you use the hypotenuse?
Yes. So when I was looking at this green triangle, I was looking at what do I have and what do I want, okay? And I have my hypotenuse and I'm wanting my adjacent. And so that
Thank
means
you.
we're going to use cos.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, next step is we're going to find AP. So some people may have started with AP, which is also fine. Now for AP, you could use Pythag, but I'm just going to use trig because I find it quicker. But if you want to use Pythag, you definitely can. Okay, so for AP, that's my O. So I'm going to say sine of 49 degrees is equal to O over 11. And my O is my AP. So I'm going to say sine 49 degrees times 11 is equal to AP, which means AP is equal sine 49 times 11, which gives us 8,30 meters. If you use Pythag, you might have slightly different decimals, and that's 100% fine. Okay, so now we know that that's 8,30. If your decimals are a little bit different, don't panic. Second last step. I know this is a long slog, guys, but remember 6 marks is a lot of marks in a test. Next part, we are finding PC. So now I'm looking at my pink triangle. And in my pink triangle, I have my O and I'm wanting my A. Okay, so I'm going to use tan because that's O and A. So I'm going to say tan of 73 degrees is equal to my opposite, which is 8,30, or yours could be a little bit different if you use Pythag. It might be like 8,29 over my adjacent, which is PC. Well, how can I help?
Sorry, ma'am, where does the 8,30 come from?
So that's from this working out over here. That was how we worked out AP. That is this line. That's AP.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Thank you.
No problem. Now I'm looking for PC. So I'm going to say PC times tan 73 is equal to 8,30. So therefore PC is equal to 8,30 divided by tan 73, which means PC 8,30 divided by tan 73 gives us 2,54 meters. And so our last step is to find PC. Oh, sorry, our last step to find BC is we're going to add BP and PC. So that means that BC is equal to 7,22, because that's this one over here. And then this one over here is 2,54 plus 2,54. And that's going to give us 9,76 meters. It was a huge question. Did anyone land up getting there all the way to the end by themselves? Did some people get some of the way? So let's try and figure this out. Let's work on a number system. If you got this to this green point, right? That's 1 out of 4. This would be 2 out of 4. This will be 3 out of 4. And that would be 4 out of 4. Tell me how this question went. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 4. And if you're embarrassed to write it to the whole group, you're welcome to send me a direct message. It's just so that I know where you're at. Cool. And those of you who are struggling, take up Coco's suggestion and see if you can watch lesson 1 and 2 of this course where we went over finding lengths and angles, and I think it will all come together. Quenza, do you have a question?
I wanted to know Yes, I do have a question. I wanted to know how you got PC because I got lost.
Okay, so
When he was transing with PC with 1073.
so the first thing I did here was I multiplied PC so that I could have it as not a denominator anymore. So that's why it's going to be
Yeah.
PC times 1073. And
Yeah.
then I'm trying to isolate PC. So I need to move 10 onto the other side. It's currently being multiplied, which means I need to divide by it on the other side.
Okay.
Okay.
Ma'am,
And
could I ask
yeah,
a question?
yeah.
Would I have been able to find the cos of, use the cos of 49 to find BP, and then did the cos of 73 to find CP? Would that have been possible?
No, because
Oh,
you
because I didn't have a hypotenuse.
yeah, you didn't have the hypotenuse.
Oh, that's why we're calculating AP. Oh,
Yeah.
oh. See, guys, even the teachers get confused sometimes. Oh,
These things happen. It's a hard
Thank you.
question. But also,
Yeah.
guys, if you need some more time on this question, remember these videos will go up. I think it's 24 to 48 hours after the lesson. So if this is a question you need to sit on a bit longer, remember you can always rewatch this and you can kind of go through it slowly again. So don't panic. It exists. You can always rewatch it. All right. Okay, it is puzzle time. Now I'm going to warn you that it's a hard puzzle. I'm just going to put that out there. Because on Tuesday you gave me attitude that it was too easy, and so I didn't take that kindly, and I've given you a hard puzzle. So good luck. I would like my answer, please. At the same time, I promise I'll go back at the end of this puzzle. Okay, I'll scroll back up and you can take a screenshot. No, man. Oh, where to?
Is that half an orange and a half an apple?
Yes, and oh, where to got it in like 10 seconds.
No.
Guys, I'm really upset. I thought this was really hard.
You guys are cheating. Even I haven't figured it out. No, wait. Nope, I'm going to do it. Hold on.
Tashfiwa? I'm so sad that guys, this was supposed to be hard. You've made me so upset. You're too smart. Yes, guys, the answer is 64. No, I'm just heartbroken. How are they cheating though? Yes, you absolutely can explain. Take us away.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
So, ma'am, I had realized the grape was 4,
Yeah.
and you'd say plus half of 4, which is 2.
Yeah.
So 4 plus 2 is 6. And then you'd do the same with the orange, which would be 4 minus 2, which would give you 2. And then the 2 apples was 4 plus 4, which is 8. Then you'd plus 2, which is 10. And you'd multiply all the 4s, which would give you 64.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Everyone's too smart. I can't find a hard enough puzzle for you guys.
Ma'am, no, I refuse that. I came in last today. I have to redeem myself. If you are, no. You guys are amazing.
They're too smart.
You guys are, yeah, guys, whatever it is you're eating, please let
Just
us
keep it,
know. So
yeah,
we can
keep
have some
eating
of it as well.
I'm worried about our time, so I'm trying to think of which one of these will be better for us to do. But I think I think let's do. Okay, let's do this one. I keep on changing my mind. Okay, I'm going to read through this super slowly. Okay, and I want you to try and focus on what I'm saying. Get your maths brain. Focus it, focus it, focus it. Okay. A pilot wants to land. Oh, sorry. I told CM Tanda I'd let him take a screenshot. Sorry, CM Tanda, first take a screenshot and then I'll go back down to that question. Okay, I'm thinking you've taken it. I'm going to move away. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. A pilot wants to land his plane and is trying to see the runway. However, there is a tree 25 meters in height, perpendicular to the ground. So that's telling us that this tree over here, that's at 90 degrees to the ground. So remember I told you that when you have an elevation and depression question, they will give you a picture. So it will look something like this, okay? However, there's a tree 25 meters in height, perpendicular to the ground that is obstructing his view. So it's getting in the way of his view. When he is in position D, so that's when he's over here, shown in the diagram, he is 4,500 meters above the ground at C. So that means that this distance here is 4,500 meters. The angle of elevation is X. And that's from the start of the runway. At this point, he can see the start of the runway 40 meters in front of the tree. Okay. That's our question. All the information we need so far is here. First things first. Determine the size of X, the angle of elevation. Does anyone think that they can give us a suggestion? So put your hand up if you'd like to talk us through how you think we could start finding the angle of elevation in this question. So there is some place in this question where they've given us enough information. So have a look at this picture really carefully and see where you think we could do it. Well, Portia, yes, we're definitely going to be using the trig ratios. Which numbers are we going to be using though? In the Bentley, tell me, what do you think we're going to do?
Sorry, ma'am, just a question. When I
Sure.
use the sine rule as in sine A over A equals sine B over B, when I do sine, is that the angle or the side?
So the sine rule is working with something different. So I will happily answer that question, but can I answer it when we finish this lesson? Because I don't want to confuse people, because it's not trig. Well, it is trig, but it's not this trig. But I will talk to you after the lesson, okay? Good, guys, yes, I'm seeing great answers coming in the chat. We're going to use the 25 and the 40, okay? Oh, sorry, I wanted to be in a highlighter. We are wanting to use this little triangle down here, okay? And this is why I spend so much time on finding angles and sides of triangles, because actually, if you understand that concept, you understand what we're dealing with a question like this, okay? So now if I'm trying to find X, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to label our triangle. So we've got our hypotenuse, we've got our adjacent, and we've got our opposite. Now I've labeled that for you. Can you please tell me what X is going to be? And remember to give me my units. What is X going to be and what are my units? Okay, we've got our O and we've got our A, which means we're going to use tan. So we're going to say tan X is equal to 25 over 40. We are looking for an angle, which means we're going to use shift. So we're going to say shift tan fraction 25 over 40, close up that fraction, and we will see that X is equal to 32.01 degrees. Now, in a question where you have elevation or depression, as soon as you get something, I recommend you put it into your picture. So now write 32.01 so we know what it is. Okay, that's our first step. Cool. Well done to everyone who got there. Now, next thing is they are wanting to know what this is. They want to know what BC is. They want to know what that yellow part is. Okay. I'm going to let you sit on that for a little bit. And I want you to try and figure it out. I'm trying to find out what BC is. I want to find out what that yellow piece is. Think about what information you have. Think about what you can find. Think about what you've been given. And then I want you to try and tell me what BC is going to be. Sandile, can I help? Okay, so we got X. This is how we found X. Let's do it up here. Is we looked at our opposites and our adjacent. So we found tan, because tan is opposite and adjacent. That's my opposite. That's my adjacent. And then because I'm looking for X, it's an angle, which means we're going to use shift on our calculator. So in our calculator, we would have written shift tan 25 over 14. Okay, so the question that I'm looking for is what is the length of BC? So what is the length of that yellow part that I've highlighted? What is the length of BC? And I really believe that you guys can do this. I said something like this when we were introducing the Egyptian guy. What about the Egyptian guy? What? Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit more time and then we'll go through it together. Yes, exactly. He did want to calculate the pyramids and he wasn't allowed. And so this pilot is trying to calculate BC. All of the pilots, if you're ever in a plane, know that your pilots are using trig. Obviously not like in that moment, but all of the calculations in their computers of what they can see is using trig. Because they're putting in angles, and so the computer automatically puts in an angle and then it spits out a distance because it's using trig. I don't want to see any surrender fans like flags. Put that flag down. Try it. Tiama, I've just put up a huge hint for you. Coco, what are we looking at there?
I am trying to figure it out as well. Georgia, what have you sent us? I have no idea.
Flags, they white flags. They white flags.
Oh.
I was like, what is this? Okay, let's try. No, I'm sorry. Okay. Can everyone see this big highlighted triangle that I've drawn? The one with my beautiful rainbow pen. This big triangle. The big rainbow triangle. You should all be able to see that. This is a yes. Okay. In this big rainbow triangle, okay, which I'm just going to draw like this. So sometimes if you redraw it, it makes things seem a little bit easier. So I'm just going to redraw it. I know that that's 4,500. I know that this angle is 32,01. Okay. I know this whole distance is something that I don't know. And I know that part of that distance is 40. And this is the part that I want to figure out. Okay. So this is what we currently are looking at. If I work out this whole side over here, and I just minus 40, then I'm going to be able to find x. Okay, so if I have a look at this whole side, this whole triangle side, let's put at the moment just focus on that. Okay, this is my angle, that's my hypotenuse, that's my opposites, that's my adjacent. So I am looking for my adjacent and I have my opposite. So I'm going to use tan. So I'm going to say tan of 32,01 degrees is equal to 4,500 over AC. Zoom out. If I zoom out, it's going to be so small. Okay.
I think
Now
maybe
I'm
something
looking-
into the next question, ma'am. So maybe when we're done with this, we'll show you the next question again.
Ah, right. Okay. Okay, so we're using tan because we want to find A and we have O. And O and A will give us tan because that's TOA. Okay, so I'm now going to move my AC up here. So I'm going to say AC times tan 32,01 degrees is equal to 4,500. And I'm trying to isolate AC. I want AC to be alone. So I'm going to say AC is equal to 4,500 divided by tan 32,01 degrees. And I'm going to put that into my calculator so that I can find AC. So AC is going to be 4,500 over tan 32,01. Close that bracket. And I'm going to get 7198,71 meters. Okay. Now I saw quite a few people got to that point in the chat, which is great. Okay. But now be careful. That is this whole distance. This whole distance here is 7198,71. So how would I get BC if that whole distance, if AC, exactly, Portia, I'm going to subtract 40. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to minus 40 from that. So I can say, therefore, BC is going to be 7198,71 minus 40, which is going to be 7158,71 meters. And that's my final answer. Now, the important thing with these types of questions, and I mean this to everyone who wanted to surrender or give up at some point or wave a white flag, is especially in maths, don't ever leave a question out. Don't ever leave blank spaces. Always try and do something. So in this question, think, well, what could I find? Like, even if it meant that you found AD and then you found AC, always try and find something. Because if you don't answer, if you just leave it blank and you don't try it all, there is nothing for your brain to start processing and thinking, what could I do? Maybe I could try this. Maybe I could try that. It just stops. So always try something. And hopefully, as you start working through things, something falls together and something starts making a little bit more sense. In a Bentley, how can I help?
Ma'am, I think because I had rounded off earlier in the question, I got 7161. So would I lose marks for that, or?
It depends on how strict your teacher is being, but generally try not round off until your final answer. actually best case scenario is to keep 4 decimal places until your final answer, but 2 is better than none.
Okay.
Okay. It was hard, Nokobongo, it was hard. But that's why we have these lessons, because we got to try and work together.
Ms. G, can I ask everyone, if you guys would like to take a screenshot of this, or if you'd like, we will have this video up again in the next couple of days, and you guys can rewatch this and kind of see what ma'am does where. That would really help you guys a lot. Okay, so like ma'am said, you'll be surprised what comes out of your brain and the marks that you'll get, like 1 mark here and 2 marks there. But I think, guys, take a screenshot and definitely come back to it again.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need time to process it and see it. And like, but I cannot stress enough about how you should not leave blank spaces in maths. Like your teacher wants you to do well. I know sometimes it doesn't feel like that way with maths teachers. You feel like they're out to get you. I understand, but your teacher really wants to help you and they want you to do well. And if they can find marks in what you've done, they will, but they can't find marks in blank spaces. So never leave a blank space. Always try and get something onto that page. And also it makes you feel better, because otherwise you feel like you've given up, and then it gives you a bad mindset as you carry on working. So just do your best. Yeah, so with elevation and depression questions, you should always be given a picture. No, so the first thing we used, we first used this little pink triangle to find the angle of elevation. And then we used this whole triangle to find AC. And then from AC, we could find BC. So in an exam, you'll only have 1 question like this, but it'll be worth quite a few marks. So it's a good one to get right. And on that lovely note, it is quiz day. So I'm gonna hand you over to Coco. Quiz day.
Yay. Guys, I love quiz day. I love doing the quizzes. I actually do them myself, but I keep my marks to myself. I don't let anybody know. I can't let you guys know my marks in case I don't get 100%. Canva, the leaderboard will come on Tuesday after the quiz. Okay, and Oami, to answer your question, the quiz will be up today and tomorrow, but by the time we put up the new lessons, it might be gone. So just be a little careful with that. And yes, Mohau, your marks do get shared with your parents, but it's not about the mark, it's about the fact that you tried. And that's all we want from you guys. You guys need to keep trying, because even when you get it wrong, you see what you did wrong the first time and then you don't do it again. So that's what we want. All right, guys, I need the chat now. Chat all to Ms. Coco. I am going to put the link to the quiz in the chat now. You can click on the link, log back into Watobe, and you can click on the little button that says start quiz now. If that's giving you a problem, just go back to the website, and exactly where you found the link for today's lesson, you will find the quiz button as well. So they're in exactly the same place if the link doesn't work for you. You just have to log back into watobe.co.za. But yeah, I think that's it from us, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We love having you guys with us. You guys are a whole vibe. Oh, hello. Oh, I'm sorry. I think Mohau wanted to say something. Mohau?
I peacefully wanted to say bye, but ouch.
Bye, Mom. And Bentley, do you mind just staying on just for a couple of minutes, just so that I can quickly talk to you about the sign rule?
Okay. All right, guys, have fun. I think the link is gone now. So guys, please log back into watobe.co.za to find the quiz. Nkelo, next time you come into class, please send me a private message, and I'm more than happy to change your name for you or teach you how to change your name. Okay. All right, guys. Bye, everyone. Josh, please log back into watobe.co.za. You'll find the quiz there.